out of fries. Actually, I was watching this video by the comedian Steve Martin, and he said one thing that always drove him crazy is that at the beginning of a comedian's set, they always say, how you doing tonight? And he said, what an awful waste of opportunity, because everybody's focused on you, and here's your chance to get their attention. And so he said, why don't you say, we've run out of fries. Anyway, one thing about my final lectures, I keep flip-flopping between the title. As you probably noticed throughout this course, I like to do little plays on words, little inside jokes. And so in this case, I'm using a title from an REM song. Sometimes I use a song from the Sundays, Here's Where the Story Ends. But anyway, our time is coming to an end. This is actually a picture of my granddaughter Juniper. And this is actually part of the course that I really dislike. But the dean makes us talk to you about it anyway. And that's yes, it's course review time. I don't know, I kind of feel like, one of those pastors. Like, they want to talk to you spiritually all through the sermon, and then in the end they have to ask you for money. And that's what I kind of feel like. The thing I also don't like about the process is if you had a problem with the class, it's like, why don't you tell me early so I can fix it? Telling me after the fact does neither of us any good. But actually, you've been really good about that. Like, for example, you told me you didn't like pitch, and so I dropped it. The thing is, I could have said, nope, we're going to stick to it to the end because that was the plan. But the thing is, you made very good rational arguments about it, and that's why we shifted in a different direction. Anyway, these things actually do count. People read them, people look at them, and actually, for us lecturers, they're really important because this is what we get graded against. We're only on year-to-year contracts. I mean, you want to get me canned, you can get me canned. And it's kind of funny, one student said to me, well, gee, Dr. Cho, what if that happened? I said, well, then I'd probably go work on one of my billion-dollar ideas that I just have kind of lying around. And then I do my very best to make that happen and then take that money and donate it to U of A. But anyway, so they do read these things, and so if you have a comment about the class, if you have something nice to say, that also counts. If you have something not so nice to say, that counts also. But anyway, that's that. I've added on an extra lecture, and this is one I've done for other classes, and they've been pretty well received. And it's called The Dogma of Dr. Cho. And what it's about is that through my career, I've learned lots of tips about like how to handle stress, how do you handle different kinds of situations, and I put it all in this one lecture. And so, yeah, it's long. It's 45 minutes. But if you're interested in checking it out, it's there for you. Now, the thing about when we look at marketing is that wherever you look, and this is why this class is important, because even if you're just going to go into customer service, or if you look at the Marketing and Me lecture, everything in some way, shape, or form touches marketing. For example, the picture I'm showing here is on every remote of every TV, there's a Netflix button. How the heck did that happen? And how brilliant was that of Netflix to take advantage of streaming? And so naturally, they achieved this through forming partnerships. The headlines of today, you see businesses talk about marketing all the time. For example, Amazon recently announced they paid $13.7 billion to buy Whole Foods. Well, why? Why did Amazon buy Whole Foods? Well, first of all, what is the product? Whole Foods sells natural foods. They're on the high end, and they're a grocery market. Well, Amazon, if you look at their Prime members, they're actually high-end buyers. The average home income for the Prime buyers, and the Prime buyers buy more than twice as much as the regular buyer. Um, they're interested in higher-end stuff. Now, what about supermarket? Who's the number one supermarket in the United States? It's actually Walmart. Walmart moves the most food stuff of any store in the United States. And the thing is, who's Amazon going after? They're going after Walmart. And so when you sit down and think about it, here's Amazon's opportunity to start to get into the food space. Now, they do have their Amazon food service right now, which, I don't know, I've looked at it. The thing is about food is you want it fresh and also you need outlets. Well, guess what? Now Amazon has new channels for food. And so what you see is the continued expansion of Amazon. And let's face it, food is at the bottom of Maslow's hierarchy. So it's a mass market product. Now, one thing I found interesting is Mark Wahlberg, the actor, has got a whole bunch of different businesses. And he wrote something really interesting in one of the articles. And he says, I spent a lot of time and worked very hard on my brand. Can anyone tell me what the Mark Wahlberg brand stands for? Other than bad acting or bad movies? I'm sorry, no matter how you add it up, those Transformer movies are terrible. I mean, they look like a bunch of garbage cans just kind of rolling around together. But anyway, that's the thing. People like to throw the word brand around. And guess what? He doesn't have a brand. He doesn't have a brand for the simple reason that the point of a brand is the moment you hear that brand or see that emblem or hear that sound or whatever, right away something pops into your head related to values and what they stand for. And when I hear about the Mark Wahlberg brand and I have absolutely no idea what it looks like, I have no idea what they're talking about. And so the thing is, marketing is all around us. And every day you can see things. I'm constantly honing my marketing thinking. I mean, whether it's watching TV commercials or whatever. I sit down and I'll start critiquing it, and then I'll also balance it against, well, gee, could that have been done by guerrilla marketing? And that's the thing. You now understand the discipline of it, though. Somebody could say, I have a guerrilla marketing campaign. Well, you'll look at that campaign and say, okay, how many people do you reach? How much is it going to cost? Is this campaign aligned with the brand? You understand all the ins and outs now. An example is communication. When you look at this slide, what you see, well, you just see a bunch of bullet points and a lot of words. This is difficult to look at. Now, to more effectively communicate, and we know we live in an age of visual, that slide is exactly this slide, and it's about this class. And what it comes down to is this class wasn't an easy course. I'll be the first one to admit that. This is a lot of information to digest, especially in 6 weeks. The thing is, by going into the discipline of marketing, this is the reason why a lot of people think, oh, marketing is going to be so much fun. And then they find out it's not all instinctual. And a lot of it is about data analysis and all. And there's a discipline behind it. And so they decide, I don't want to become a marketer. This class asks you to think conceptually, that you don't have to remember details, but you need to remember ideas, the crux behind things. And this allows you to solve problems, because every problem eventually would boil down to some fundamental rule. And finally, the world changes. Your knowledge will obsolesce within 5 years. However, how is it that people can go on and have 30-year careers where they keep learning, and not only that, but most of all, what businesses pay you for is your problem-solving skills. How many times are you right about things? And subsequently, that can be driven off of if you have conceptual thinking. The tools might change and the facts might change. However, your abilities dope. And so when you look at this, you compare this to the previous slide, you can see the big difference. How much easier this is to use, how much better this communicates. So you think, well, Dr. Cho, why don't you do that for all your slides? This slide took me about 15 to 20 minutes to do, and that's because I had to figure out the artwork, and I had to recenter it, and what it comes down to is I have 1,500 slides in this class for me, and actually all of these slides are original. A lot of these slides took a lot of research, and so the thing is you take 15 minutes and then you start multiplying it out by 1,500 slides. It starts to get pretty hefty. It's like I don't have a third of a year or whatever to work on this. Now, in terms of choices of how I went about this class, it's actually kind of funny because this one teacher at a different university was telling me that the #1 ranked teacher in his school, who constantly got 5s, which is the best, but in terms of difficulty of their class, they got a 1 or a 2, or 5 is hard and 1 is easy. And so originally when I came here to teach at ASU, I wondered, gee, a lot of the students are struggling with this, should I lower the bar? And so I came up with a choice, and that's it. I could make I could set the bar low and make everybody feel good. Or the thing is, I could set the bar high. And so what it comes down to is you get what you want out of this class. If you only want to get a little bit out of this class, you can get a little bit. If you want to get a lot out of this class, you can get a lot out of this class. The choice is pretty much yours. The point is that I set it to a level where anybody can get as much as they want out of it. Now, in terms of what you learned in this class, what it comes down to is you're going to see, and especially the cases, you're going to see a lot of these problems again. Like for example, making the decision, should I make 5-inch flat panel displays or should I make 10-inch? The same kind of mechanics and the same kind of evaluation you do, same exact thing. You're making an argument. But when you look at really good marketing, first and foremost, if you have done a good job of your marketing, it should be very simple. You should be able to tell a story and understand the journey that you're taking the company as well as the customer on. That's what good marketing is about. It's about a story and it's about a journey. So the flow through marketing is first we need to start with an objective. Then we need intelligence. We need to figure out what is it that we actually need to know before we rush in there. Then we start setting our strategy together. What points are we going to hit? Where is it that we can apply our strengths against their weaknesses? And finally, what pieces do I have in place to be able to attack this? And those pieces are 4 Ps. And so that's the flow of what we learned in this class. What we also learned in this class is about the digital universe. And essentially, marketing in our world today is about data. And that data is dependent on the 4 Vs. Well, actually there are 5, but they're the 4 primary Vs. And originally there were only 3, but the 4th V that started emerging is veracity. How true is this data? And so the digital world is actually pretty simple. It's comprised of 3 parts. One is the web. The second is about mobile. And the third is about social media. That's what pretty much drives our digital universe. And what pulls it all together is our ability to come up with a CRM system. That's the way, as a marketing company, we can interact with it. Subsequently, when we look at the digital world, we live in an age of content and influencer marketing. What does that mean exactly? Well, in the digital world, content marketing is bait. We're using content to draw people in, to get information. This more than ever before, this allows us the opportunity to do inbound marketing. Instead of us just chasing people, they can come to us. The second big impact of marketing today is because there's so much information and people don't know point, where to turn their heads. It's about influencer marketing. Essentially, we look for leadership. We look for people we trust. We look at people to follow. And subsequently, what does this content and influencer marketing lead to? We want, through content and influencer marketing, we want people to share. We want to grow our influence, and we do that by sharing. We want them to refer it to other people, and we want them to review it. The people who like it and all, we want them to go out and recommend it to other people. And subsequently, based on that sharing, referral, and review, technology allows us this to go out as amazingly fast, to reach people, and to diffuse. We want to set off a chain reaction. We want this to go viral, so our product gets out there. And so what happens through this is that customers will engage with us. And through, excuse me, and by engaging with us, what we hope is that they're going to go out and start buying our product. In terms of looking at products, just looking at how you go through the entire thing, it doesn't matter what the product is. And I won't go through all of this, but whether it's an airline, and Nectar is an app, and what it's based on is 3D, meaning the harder you press on the button, it creates a new dimension of a reaction. And let's just take Casper mattresses. And they make these memory foam mattresses. And what they did is they looked at the value chain, and they looked at, now granted you don't buy a mattress all that often, but what you do is a big investment. And it's just an incredible hassle. It's not like something that most people can go ahead and take home. Not only that, if you don't like it, you're stuck with it. And so now they have this 100-day guarantee. They're able to ship it to you because it's memory foam, so there's convenience. It's a lot cheaper. A good mattress will cost you $2,000 to $3,000. This mattress costs you $500 to $700. And so it's a disruption of the traditional mattress market. And so what they do is mattresses take up a lot of room. And so there's a limited number of places that will physically go ahead and sell them. So this is why they decided, let's sell it online. And so they've taken away the risk of you trying it. And how are they going to promote it? Well, blogs, because I want to educate you about what their product is. Search engine marketing. Essentially, people have said, this is my intent, I want to buy a mattress. Well, guess what? You want to be one of the options they have. And so you can see, did I do anything like really complex or anything? No. You know this and you can do this. You can go out and analyze any product. In the next video, I'll wrap up with some of my thoughts about this class and actually the directions you can take your career in.